Hey, it's Arcsecond. In this video, I'll cover the 7.10 patch notes and how it affects tier list. So starting off, we have the Heimer update. I currently have Heimer at A, and they nerfed his health regen by quite a bit, and the health regen growth stat. But to make up for it, he has a new passive where he gains 20% movement speed when in range of his turrets, and he also has more turrets early. Starts off with 3. And what this allows him to do is trade in a similar fashion to Ari, when using that movement speed to get in range of auto attacks and using the movement speed to drop minion aggro. So this should help his laning phase by quite a bit. So that's a nice change. So yeah, the stack limit is up early, 3 at all ranks. Stack generation is down, that's good. But the base damage is down by quite a bit, and they're easier to clear. So this might hurt him, but they upped the scaling, and they no longer come with the charge beam, but they charge with abilities now. Yeah, so a little bit better scaling, but then he can trade with autos more early. For W, the mana cost is down and the scaling is down by a lot, and it helps him charge the beam from his turrets. So this got buffed by quite a bit. W looks pretty strong, and for the E, cooldown is down for the most part, and also charges. This ability is about the same, and then they up the damage and the AP ratio. So what I think this means is you can try to take advantage of the auto attacks. Before, Heimer was played quite often top, but with this build and with these cooldown changes, you might go for a more AP oriented build instead of the more defensive one. Might build Namacon. We'll just have to see if his early game is strong enough with the slightly weaker turrets, but he does have one more if it can get him through lane and if he can scale as well as some of the other mages. But changes look decent. So Ramus is also getting an update. So they changed his passive, so no longer gives him 25% of his armor's attack damage, and they changed it to magic damage. This is really nice. It's going to make it a little bit easier to itemize, and will fit the items he likes to build more anyways. But yeah, now it has a base, and it scales also with armor, but does magic damage. For Q Powerball, they nerfed, or they buffed the cooldown. The duration went down, but it's a channel effect, so it starts, I believe the cooldown starts after. And the movement speed's up by quite a bit, but they nerfed the damage, especially on max rank, by quite a lot, and they changed the slow, doubled it, but half the duration. I think this is a good change though. Yeah, so overall this looks pretty good. For defensive ball, we have yeah, they changed it from a flat base to, or from a base damage to 20 flat plus a percentage of his total resistances. Could be good. Will take a little bit to scale, but the cooldown's down by a lot, and he can now reactivate it. And also the passive is amplified. So this looks like a nice change. It's definitely a quality of life change. For Frenzying Taunt, Ramus now gains attack speed instead of reducing their armor. This also fits in line with the passive change they made to him. I think that's a good change. And also refreshes. So this will help him get, this should do a little bit more damage, but he still lost some damage here and some damage from Q. And they're also nerfing the damage on his ult. But they are adding, I think this is one of the best changes for Ramus. I think this was much needed, where it now slows and it stacks to really help him stick on targets. This was really easy to escape normally. So overall, I think these were definitely changes that were going in the right directions, but for a tank to have this low of base damages, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. We currently have Ramus at A tier. Not sure if it's going to push him up. I think he'll probably be in a similar spot for top and jungle, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I think they're definitely going in the right direction. Cassio got a visual update. For Fizz, so Fizz is being played quite a bit. Fizz we have at S tier for sure, S tier top and mid, and they're trying to do the change to Echo, where they want him to be more of an AP mid champion rather than a tank bruiser top lane. So they're nerfing the base damage and upping the AP ratio a little bit. And yeah, so with W activated, it's down by 75, and that makes quite a big difference. The base early is not too bad to trade in lane, and the AP ratio with 1.2 is insanely high. So for mid Fizz, it's about the same. A scale a little bit later, or scale a little bit better into the late game. And then for top Fizz, I'm not sure if it's enough. He's possibly at A tier for top lane, but we're gonna keep him at S for now. I think Fizz will probably still be in a decent spot, and then mid Fizz will still be strong. For Graves, they nerfed his Q base damage and upped the AD ratio for both parts. The bounce back ratio is pretty high now, but this will still be a nerf to his early clear, but it's probably not big enough, and they're also nerfing some of the other junglers. Graves is definitely in a good spot right now. We have him S tier. And they're nerfing the ult at early ranks by 20 seconds. Also not too big of a deal. I'm feeling with some of the other nerfs and like with the meta pool for junglers right now, which is pretty limited, the Graves will still be very playable. But definitely still going in the right direction, nerfing the base damage on Q. For Jax, another update. Okay, for Ivern became a top tier pick and he scales insanely well. So nerfing his early game, the movement speed will hurt his scaling and hurt him throughout the game, but he's definitely more punishable early. I'm just worried that he'll still be able to scale pretty well. It really depends. I'll have to see how this feels and how much this affects his first clear and how much he can be abused early. But I have a feeling he'll still be able to scale pretty well. Not sure if we can move him to S, but yeah, the movement speed's down by 5, that's a big change. And the base health cost is up by 8%. The mana one doesn't matter that much. But yeah, we'll have to see how this affects his route. So Leeson became one of the most popular junglers. The jungle pool became pretty limited, and a lot of the farming junglers got pushed out. And yeah, that always brings back Leeson. So definitely have Leeson at S right now. They're not giving him too big of nerfs, and with since they didn't really change any of the other junglers, and with ganking junglers being so prominent right now, I have a feeling Leeson will still be good. These changes aren't too bad. Base movement speed down by 5, similar one to Ivern. And then the cooldown is also up. Yeah, since Graves got nerfed and Ivern got nerfed, I think Leeson will still be strong even with this change. They really hit a lot of the ban champions this patch. Now we're going on to Lulu. We see Kassadin. For Lulu, we have her at S tier for support. Became a ban-worthy support for the last few patches, but they nerfed her health by quite a bit and her shield. But I don't think these changes are that bad. Definitely hurt her laning phase a little bit, and this might push her out of mid lane a little bit more. But I think she'll still be good, especially against the current meta. And so Kassadin's starting to come in the meta pretty quickly. I'm S tier for mid. This was a change though. This is like a change that they did to Cho'Gath that brought him down. On Kassadin it's less important, so basically this ability is now flashable. On Kassadin doesn't matter as much, he has his R, the range does go up a little bit, but I think this is still overall nerf, but I don't think it'll be that bad for his kit. I think we're going to keep him at S. So Maokai we have, after the rework, most people have been playing him support, and yeah, it does quite a bit of damage, so we'll see what they do. I think they'll probably, they might try to bring him back to top lane. Cast time is down a little bit, that's nice for his passive. The mana was changed, pretty much a buff at all ranks, and the cooldown is down for his Q, that's good. It's good for top lane Maokai, or tank Maokai. And so here's the strong ability that made support Maokai really playable, is the sapling toss. So they upped the mana cost, the base damage is down, but then they gave him 2% right away. It just starts at 8%. And other than that, the ability is about the same. So it doesn't feel like much was changed here for Maokai. Overall, almost feels like just a slight buff overall. So I think we'll still probably see him support and maybe a little bit more top lane. So Rakan, this champion has a pretty strong kit, and I think people are starting to learn how to play Xayah and Rakan. Xayah is becoming a really strong ADC, definitely one of the top AD carries right now. And so for Rakan, we have the range for Q is going up by a lot, 100. The W is going up by 20 at max rank. That's not bad, but still about the same early. But they are nerfing the shield by quite a bit, by 40. But overall, I still think Rakan, his kit's pretty strong. If they keep messing with his numbers, I think we'll definitely see. I think we could see quite a bit of him. But the shield nerf is pretty big. I think overall it's probably a slight buff, but I'll probably keep him in a similar position. Nekton, more bug fixes. Nekton has become a very strong top laner. Yeah, I think these are still pretty similar. Okay, for Ribbon, another set of bug fixes, and they say to skip this part if you don't know what animation canceling is. For those who don't know, it's basically aligning two abilities, so the second one, or an auto attack, takes over the animation of the first one, and yeah, so you're prioritizing that one and you're canceling the first one short. And so they're trying to make her animation canceling with Q more consistent, and we'll have to see how this feels. It shouldn't be too big of a change. Ribbon's in a good spot right now. Sejuani, yes, Sejuani became quite a banned pick, but they just cut her armor, her bonus resistances, from 100 just to 20 right away. Everything else is about the same, but this will definitely hurt her early game. Don't think she'll be ban worthy anymore. Might even be A. But still, these early resists is still probably like enough early game that it still provides or has the same effect. So we'll kind of see where that puts her. For Udyr, Udyr's having a hard time in the meta. Yeah, he's not doing too well. We actually have him at A. I think there's actually a good chance. I almost want to just move it straight down to B, even though he's getting slight mana buffs. Udyr's having a hard time in the current meta. Yeah, he'll probably need some more changes, but we're starting to get there. York, I think these updates are actually kind of nice. So yeah, souls don't perish anymore, and then he can refresh them with new ones. I think that's pretty good. So for Zac, there's already one fix, and then so for Q, they added 2.5% of Zac's maximum health. That is a lot. And this ability was already better than Zac's old Q, I thought. And with that extra damage, it should be pretty good. And then they also updated, this was like the big nerf to his kit, was nerfing this from 1 second to 0.5. But now they've addressed it and they've changed it back from 0.5 to 1 scaling seconds. So they've almost reverted this nerf. For most of the time, you are holding this for quite a long time, especially when you're opening gank, and that's the most important time. And then Let's Bounce got an extra 0.1 seconds. But overall, these changes look pretty good to Zac. Yeah, we'll have to see. So they updated Ancient Coin line. Added some base health regen. Sports who like that, might be like Soraka, but she's been going. Spell Thieves. Not sure if that 25% is enough to change much. Made it easier to get stacks with this Face the Mountain line. Face the Mountain. And then they also made the Spell Thieves edge line a little bit better. So for the tank items, they nerfed most. I think they nerfed most of the tank items, maybe even over nerfed quite a few of them. And here, so they're adding some more health, which is a good change, and lowering the MR. That part's good, but they're cutting the health regeneration in half. This isn't the end of the world. It's still one of the better defensive items and better tank items out there right now. Yeah, it'll still be built, but still, all the tank items are in a weaker spot. Better Rift Herald interactions, like this. So they added Surrender Vote, but it has to be unanimous. So yeah, at least you can hold on and keep fighting if you'd like to. So I'm fine with that change. For ping muting, that now exists if that was a bad case. But most of our ping is still, I think, one of the best ways to communicate in League. This will only be used in severe cases probably. So that's not bad. And some more updates. But yeah, they hit like most of the banned champions. We'll have to see what becomes the most banned champions and most picked. But I think overall, it will still be in a similar state. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.